a new drummer for a new awakening.
Hi, this is Anne Marie, and you are listening to Achieve and watching Internet, YouTube, radio, as well as you can listen to it here at Achieve. Today's guest is Joseph Gritch, and he is my buddy and oftentimes just a delight to have here. And he gives very soft voice readings with wonderful tarot, just reading intuition. And maybe I thought today we could discuss maybe some tips on tarot reading for novice readers, as well as maybe the process of getting your intuition going and where it starts to feel more smooth for you rather than so deliberately each card feeling as if it's taking a huge amount of analyzing. So, Joseph, how are you today?
Hi, Anne Marie. How are you? I'm doing fine. We had our first thunderstorm of the season last night, and so that's nitrogen for the soil, and it's an awakening of things, and I love it. And so, how have you been?
We had our first thunderstorm last week, and we've been having rain every day since. And the tulips are popping up like crazy, and you're right. Lightning is like the vitamin for the earth. And you can just see the difference. You can water and water and water with your hose, and you will never get the same kind of reaction that a good thunderstorm and lightning gives the soil.
Oh, there's nothing like rainwater.
I know it.
For plants.
Well, and the lightning is so valuable.
Absolutely. We have a barrel outside and buckets and stuff, and I use that water to water my house plants, and they are so happy when I do that. They just love it because it has all the wonderful nutrients. There's no chlorine in it, and there's no fluoride in it. It's right from the sky. So.
Right. Do you?
So you were talking about tarot for novices, huh?
Well, I was thinking so, and I was thinking that maybe we could give some suggestions to people that are starting to read tarot and kind of what to expect the process of finally feeling like it's coming in smoothly. You know what I mean?
Well, there's so much to interpret in a card. And to look at and to study, explanations of each card is a help, if you're just starting out and you want to understand what some of those symbols mean. Because everything on those cards is not put there just for decoration. They all have meanings. And you have to really study. You have to see all the possibilities of the interpretation. Even once when I was doing the card of the day, which is really funny, what happened was that I pulled up one of those blank cards that are the extras, and the deck, you know, that's the card that you're supposed to. It's one of the cards you're supposed to pull out of the deck before you start. And
Yeah.
I thought I had done that, because I had found the blanks and I found the advertisement cards, that are inside the deck, and I always remove all those. And here I was giving readings for a few years, and this blank card never showed up, and then one day it does, and it
There
just
it
so
was.
happened.
How do you
Well,
How do you
well, how do I
interpret that?
interpret that? Well, I mean, what were the odds that I would pull that up on a day when we just had like a massive amount of snow that morning? And nobody was going anywhere. And so it was just fate, of course, that I had pulled up this blank white card of nothing of snow. And so that
Right.
was my card of the day. It's white outside. It is pitch white, and
Right.
nothing is going on today.
Let me ask you this. How important do you think it is to be able to pick a deck with pictures that resonates with you instead of, there are the decks that have all kinds of glorious, beautiful artwork in which the pictures are just wonderful, but sometimes are so complicated and so into the artist is so into the mission of creating the artwork. Sometimes I feel they miss the message. And then there are other cards that are more simplistic. What deck do you read with?
I use the old-fashioned,
Rider Waite?
yes,
I do
Rider
too.
Waite.
And
I
I have,
prefer it. I'm used to that. That's what I started with, and actually, even in all the study that I had done when I was a kid. Those were the pictures I had learned to understand. There's a lot of beautiful decks out there, like you said, designed with such great works of art, really. They throw me off if I use. I had one that was different, and it just threw me off. I'm not used to it, and so I stay with that deck. And even when I get replacement decks, it's always the same, you know.
well, I know that some people collect decks, and I love looking at all the decks. But for
Hmm.
myself, I stick with the Rider Waite deck. I still have Golden Tarot, which is basically museum Renaissance pictures, but they stick pretty much to the theme of the
Hmm.
Rider Waite, and each card is edged with gold, and real classy. They have good smelling ink. The ink
Hmm.
smells fragrant, and the cards feel rich in my hands. And between the shuffling of the cards and the smell of the ink that comes to my nostrils, and just that good quality feeling of the cards, it seems as if all of that enhances the channeling process.
Hmm. If
But
I
I
if I like the feel of the deck in my hands and shuffling, now mine are rather large. They're not that large, but they're a little bigger than some. I prefer, something that has a good feel to it, and something that I could shuffle. That's not too. Flimsy, or it has to be just right, the right card. Some people read playing cards because, there are
yes.
similarities, but you're missing the major arcana,
Hmm.
okay? But you have your pentacles. Pentacles are diamonds. Swords are spades. Wands are, I mean, yes, no, swords, yes, swords are spades. Wands are clubs,
Hmm.
and cups are hearts. Cups pretty much and hearts symbolize love and like love and relationships, friendships. Um,
I try.
wands wands usually symbolize things involved with work, you know, um, or some kind of work, and that's. That fits in well with the clubs. I would get distracted if I was playing a game of cards. If I had been reading playing cards, I would be distracted if I was playing poker or something. I'd be saying, "Oh my God, I got the nine of was it the nine of spades? Oh, what a horrible card to have! And it's just like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, it ruins
I,
everything. Well,
but
how about
I
when
I
do
do
you
know
know?
people. I'm sorry. Go on, hon.
When do you know it's time to retire your deck?
When when I can't shuffle it, when they become so tattered and dirty and stuff that I can't physically deal with them. Other than that, I would hang on to them for a good long time.
And
Uh,
and what do you do with the cards when you throw them? Do you throw them away?
no, I usually just put them away.
Yep,
Yeah, and then
I
sometimes
have.
they just kind of get lost. I could put them away, and then I might move or something a few years later, and then it's sort of like, whatever happened to that? It's like they just kind of vanish on their own. They go somewhere, I'm sure, but they probably get left behind or thrown out by accident. I've
I
never
have.
really, I've never really, purposely pitched a deck of cards into the trash.
I couldn't. I could.
Yeah, I don't like to do that. I
Maybe
don't
I
think
would.
any.
I might burn them. I would
Yeah,
rather burn them than
if you
throw 'em.
have a little bonfire, you're sitting out some night and enjoying the bonfire, you might think, oh, I got some old cards I could throw on there. Uh,
Well, I mean, it seems more. It
but
seems
I don't.
more.
I still have all of the. Well, it's funny. I am mysteriously missing one deck of cards. I am missing the very first deck.
40-year-old deck of cards.
Well, it's more like about. Well, yeah, actually, it is almost nearly 40 because I bought them when I was 18.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's not quite 40, but it's just a long time ago, and I never knew what happened to them. Those were the very first cards I had, and after about 5 years, I have no idea where they went, and that's why I had to buy a new deck. And I've had the deck I've had now for about 5 years.
So, what would you say that the process? Well, I say that when people first begin to read, um, there's a really touchy kind of subject that when I first began to read, it was very important to certify as a tarot reader. But when you certified, it meant that you had to know all the flashcard meanings of the cards. But it
Hmm.
didn't really tell you how to fit those cards together to create a reading. So it was
Right.
more based on your flashcard memory work. Whereas I find now that actually all of that flashcard meaning stuff is pretty much when I memorize cards, I memorized like two or three significant words
Hmm.
instead of da 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 da. What did that card mean? It meant love, harmony, or it meant depression, and or solitude, or whatever.
Hmm.
But that made it reading easy. And then when I used those key words, I began to learn how to channel the cards instead of thinking, now, what was that flashcard meaning? I would just stick to those three words that each card meant. And then as they were put together as a story, almost like Braille, just feeling them, I would pretty soon, boom, come in with instantaneous visions, and the
Hmm.
reading would start to flow. But
It
I
gives me a
think,
framework, and then the
yeah,
rest is gut feeling, where you try to you look at the card and you know the general feeling of it and you know the general meaning. But that's not enough. Like you said, you kind of have to know how this relates to the other cards and to the question. you
right.
know because a lot of times you get a card, you go, wow, I got a court card and that's a person, but this person wasn't asking me about a person. And it's like, well, that's not the only thing that it means. Court cards usually are people, but they also symbolize a lot of other things.
Right.
You're right, you do have to go by your intuition and your gut feeling. um, there's more than just the written meaning that has been noted upon for centuries, because really that's where the definitions all come from. You know, it's just people have been making notes and making notes, and we've come up with a definitive meaning for that card over time. But a lot of it is based on your own intuition about what that card actually means.
Right. So, yeah, so
You have
I
to have
feel
a feel. It's sort of like if you have a talent, if you have a knack for art, okay, having the talent is great because that means you have a feel for it. But you also have to learn some skills that go along with it, and some different techniques, you know, and stuff like that. So same with tarot. I mean, yes, you should study it and study the meanings and really try to learn what they mean. Try to understand what the symbols mean so that when you do see it, you don't have to think about the written definition. You can just look at the card and see all the symbols and what it represents. Because, you know, there's even astrological symbols woven in there too. There's a lot to look at, and that's why a lot of times, sometimes you can get two different readings from the same person about the same thing because they're seeing something different.
Well, even if you have two different friends, you're going to get two different projections of how they interpret things. So
Right.
reading is the same way. Each
Right.
reader sees and feels things in a specific way, and though you may have basically the same facts in your readings, the gist of it is the same. There's going
Yes,
to be
the
little.
cards may be different. The cards may be different, but the gist is going to be the same, which is interesting to note with the two different readings. I didn't mean that the readings themselves would be different, but the layouts might turn out different. But they end up pretty much relating to the same thing. You know, and that's the interesting thing is, like, say if you get, like, say 2 or 3 readings about the same thing from 3 different people, and what's remarkable is that they really, you get the same, relatively the same interpretation, even though the cards turned out differently. You know, one might be focused more on something else, but your answer is going to be the same. And now, if you are the one getting the reading, what I've noticed is that how I have a feeling about the reading being true to me is the feeling that you have after you hear it that, wait a minute, I already knew this, didn't I? You know, there's something about what they're telling you that hits you in such a way where you realize that it is a good reading because of the way you feel. You know, it's not just like a what? You know, it's like, oh yes, no, I should know that. I knew that. Now that I hear it, I know it. You know, that's the feeling I've always had when a reading was really on target. What was that sense that I knew?
Do you see that there's a difference in how do you feel about reading for yourself? Do you feel that I feel that when I read for myself or close friends, I'm often too close to the subject matter.
Yes.
And I find that for whatever reason, reading for a perfect stranger or reading for somebody that I don't live with or encounter in a daily process is much easier than if I read for myself. Sometimes I get so mad I just want to throw the cards on the wall because it feels as if they're purposely, you know, saying, now what the heck did you ask me that about? You know, and it's just
I always feel as though I'm getting a smart answer when I try to read my own.
Right.
And it's just like, well, you know, and if I am reading for someone that I know really well, you know what works for me? I usually try not to read cards for people that I'm close to. For the same reasons. I'm too close to the subject. But what helps in their case is if I say, you know, rather than have me do this reading for you here face to face here in my living room, you know, call me later and I'll do it by phone because they're removed from me and I'm still getting the energy. Okay.
I get it.
I can work electronically. I can do chat and all that stuff. And it actually works better for me. I guess I'm more of an electrical sort of a person where I do better with telephones. And well, I'm a Gemini. I'm really good. Telephones are like our friends, you know. I mean,
Well, to me,
and
when people say, how can you read by phone? To me, it's like pressing your head next to someone else's head, and you're hearing
yes,
them breathe, and it's actually quite
yes.
intimate.
Well, because we're removed from the physical distractions and we're
And
removed from
yes,
the physical senses. That's why a lot of times, even over the internet, you know, you get a real feel for a person's mind and soul energy because we don't know them physically. We haven't met them. We're not sitting across from them. We're not staring at their face, and we're
we
getting
shouldn't be
things.
staring at their face anyway.
Well, that's true, but you know, not staring, but I mean,
No,
we're just removed from that physical part where we're allowed to sense the other things that are coming through, you
I
know.
have I have found that for me, looking not at my client as I read, is extremely important because I don't want them to think that I'm reading their body language. And I
Right.
don't want them to think that I am searching within their eyes
Hmm.
for truth that I should be doing as I read. So,
Or
because
judging by the way they're
there's so
dressed,
many
or
scammers that do that.
there are people that are very good at reading people. I mean, very good at reading people physically, especially if they see you pulling up in an old car and they see how you're dressed. They know that, you know, like say your question is about money, you
Hmm.
know, or body language, and you know, I know that there's a lot that body language can tell a person, and but I'm just totally ignorant of. I don't pay attention to that because I've always thought that that can be misleading. People will be a certain way. And people will say, well, that's because you feel this way. And actually, people have said that to me who have tried to read my body language. And it's like, well, no, that's not what I'm feeling. I'm sitting this
Hmm.
way because it's comfortable. I'm sitting this way because I have problems with my back sometimes, you know,
That
or, you know,
pained look does not mean I hate you. It means my back
right.
hurts.
And I
We have
always
a
look this
why?
way.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
look I always have.
let's
But
let's
yeah,
get
I
to
don't
our
want
caller.
people to think. I agree with you. I wouldn't want someone to think that I'm one of those types that are are reading them physically and using that as part of my reading. I would rather
No.
not have that. And that's why it's easier for me to do a reading over the phone or even by chat because I'm removed from experiencing them in that physical sense, you know,
I get it.
or that presence.
Ready to take a call?
Sure. Who do we have?
It's an unlisted caller. Hello, unlisted caller. Are you there?
Oh, who are you?
Hello. Thank you. My name is Debbie. How are you?
Hi,
Good.
Debbie.
Hi.
What can Joseph do for you?
Um, well, could he do me a reading? I don't know. It's like love, career, or I don't know anything.
Are you just looking
But
for a message reading of whatever comes through then, Deb, right?
Deb,
yeah.
sort of whatever.
Whatever's important.
Let's see what pops up for Deborah.
These are the
So,
fun ones. These are the
huh?
fun ones.
Yeah,
Right.
these make things interesting, I think, you know.
Hmm.
It's the kind
Mhm.
I like.
And it's not like, oh, help me, help me.
Yeah.
Well, actually, in the present, I am seeing that that it might be you might be feeling help me at the present time because I'm seeing the Ten
Ah!
of Swords currently, and that's uh, currently it's like I am seeing that you finally reached to like a balanced perspective of your life, you know, and at this time it's advised and it's being acknowledged that you're taking one step at a time and learning to trust in yourself. I am seeing that you've recently come through a difficult time, and that's an indication, though, that this is going to pass. It's showing that you've come up with some solutions, or you're about to come up with some solutions to improve your situation. Warning is like, don't make the same mistakes, which created the problem that you just solved. You know.
Wow.
So yeah. Now, in the immediate, well, what's coming here? We have the Seven of Swords, and that's in its upright position, and it shows that someone might be prying into your life in the near future. You might feel like somebody might be spying on you, or someone might be trying to dig through your life. I'm seeing like say, if you're going for something or going to compete in something soon, keep a close eye out for somebody else cheating, to, win out. Somebody else might be as ethical as you regarding something. In the workplace, it could mean that, like, maybe your employer will be looking at your work more closely. So if that's the case, make sure that you're doing your best and keep your shoulder to the grindstone, and make sure that, you're doing everything right, And if you're looking for work, don't be afraid to talk to people that you know or have worked with in the past, because they might be really helpful in that respect. So that's what I'm getting. Anne Marie, what do you think?
I'm going to be silly here, Deb, and be a wise ass.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a crackpot loner?
What does that mean?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, that could be
the reason I ask this is because it says that, and I can totally relate if you are, but it says that being able to communicate with people is important to you, but it's not like you need a huge tribe of friends. And your reading says that sometimes you found that friends have been kind of an iffy situation where, for whatever reason, sometimes maybe, I'm not going to say tomfoolery or whatever, but it seems there's been a few incidents in your life where you thought that someone's intentions were good, but you found out that you were fooled, and that maybe you started to feel as if you had to be more cautious about who you let in your life. Your reading also shows that it's kind of exactly like Joseph says. There's just this little bit of paranoia about getting too close to people, and that maybe you don't even realize that now your wisdom has it's shining from your eyes. And there's a sense that some people may see it as maybe a wall, or see it as that you're reluctant to get close, when actually probably you are, if you feel that you've had some people pull some fast ones over you. Kind of like Joseph said. On the other note, it says that you have moved on from a crisis in your life, and that there is a sense that you had perhaps, and I don't know whether it was a very sexual relationship or just a very physically intense longing for someone. And it shows that it ended up not turning out the way that you had desired it to. And it shows that one thing you found out is that you will not repeat the mistake of giving more than you're getting back, because it seems that when you do that, a little girl essence starts to take over in the big woman. I don't mean big woman, but the grown-up woman. And pretty soon the grown-up woman starts acting differently than you are comfortable with. And at that point, it seems that whatever happened, it seems this person or situation ended. So what your reading is saying is that you're kind of at this, and that's why I said, are you a crackpot loner? I didn't mean to say, are you an out of the box loner? Are you somebody that doesn't care if you have a huge tribe of friends, and that you're pretty darn comfortable with yourself, and that you feel right now to try to be more careful about sieving through who you know? And that's what I have, Deb.
Oh, wow. It's all both of you are exactly right on.
Good.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. What happens with the person digging in my life? Could it be a friend that I don't hang out with as much, or one that I reconnected with, or a family member?
Well, actually, it could be any of those, depending on what you're involved with. Like how I saw it would be like if it was with work, it could be that they're checking on you at work, or paying extra attention to the kind of work that you're doing. So that's why you have to put your best foot forward, because they're taking notes. And the other thing is that if it's the relationship, or some friends, they might be doing some stalking or like doing some checking up on you. Sometimes people do that for their own entertainment, which is kind of a strange thing to do.
Bizarre.
It's bizarre, but it could be that maybe somebody that you haven't seen in a while is doing some spying on you just to see what you're up to. It might even be the person that you are no longer associated with,
Yeah, someone who I don't talk to anymore.
Because if you're talking to them, then they wouldn't need to do that. They wouldn't need to be spying on you. And I'm seeing it as not something that's your own paranoia. I'm seeing that somebody really is doing that. It's just something that the other thing too is, I said, watch out for people cheating. Like if you're competing in something and you're doing everything you're supposed to do, there will be somebody else who's going to try to cheat and get ahead. So it's a sort of a dishonest behavior, like cheating, spying, that sort of thing. It's something that actually has become a lot more common these days.
And I would just add to that, Deb, stay away from the jerks.
Yeah.
And remember, it says you are extremely intuitive. And remember what I said, that sometimes you look in people's eyes and you get the feeling that they may be blocking you. I think that's what happens with high frequency intuitive people. I believe that high frequency intuitive people, they don't blend in like the normal person. They seem to always be in work situations or in circles where people are close but a little bit backed off. And it's easy to feel that you are doing something wrong when actually I believe you just register with a very sensitive, intuitive, high frequency. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
And what about this friend who I don't think she was the best of friends, and I stopped talking to her, and now she keeps emailing me, and she wants to take me out to lunch, and I'm avoiding her. Is that smart?
Well, you know what? It seemed like before that you were, it might have seemed to you that you were giving like 300% to this friendship, and she wasn't doing all that. And if you had a gut feeling about this person that you think that it's time to move on from them because they're not really the greatest of friends, it might be best just to distance yourself from this person. If that's the way you felt, then I would say, then don't start going back to the same situation, especially if she caused a problem, and has always had that tendency to do so. You might just decide, okay, maybe I'll have lunch, but I'm not going to. But a lot of times when you do that, you're giving them the signal that everything's fine and they can go back.
You're putting out a hook.
Yeah, you're putting out a hook, and you might just want to be nice. You can make excuses. I'm busy. I've just been really busy lately, stuff like that, and I'll get back to you. And there's ways of dealing with them. Like Anne-Marie said, though, if you're going to put that hook out there, be absolutely sure that that's what you want.
Because she will bite, and remember, she just may be one of those friends or partners of the past who wants what she can't have. And when you're available, she doesn't seem to be there. We need to go, Debbie. We've got other people in quick, but thank you.
Okay, take care, Debbie.
Thank you so much. Great, thank you.
We have Susan, and she is from Ohio, and she says, "Hi, Anne-Marie and Joseph. A man at work has been approaching me more and more for general conversation, and his name is Art. And I am interested in what you and Joseph can pick up about whether he is romantically interested in me. Many, many thank yous."
Sue and Art. Well, I'm seeing that in the present time that some sort of a personal battle has come to an end. And but as for Art, it's funny. What I'm seeing in the near future regarding Art is the Page of Cups, and that is a very friendly card. It's an uplifting and encouraging sign to see this. I'm seeing this person being interested. The Page of Cups is somebody who is a young man offering somebody a cup, So I'm seeing that this can be fun, and it's a chance to play and dream, and it's also a note that perhaps she's been taking herself too seriously about a lot of things, and maybe being a little too picky. So I'm seeing this as a happy thing, and I think it shows that he has some interest.
I think it's important to realize that sometimes people's worst flaw is to imagine that something that shows interest has to be romantic, and that there are some people. And that there are some people that feel that we are kindred souls, and they just want to know us. Mm-hmm. So this is what I have about Art. Art has been in a tough time. There's a sense that he's kind of intuitively retarded. That's not a good word, retarded. And
no.
He isn't a great
challenged.
Yeah, challenged.
Intuitively challenged.
He's intuitively challenged, and he's not the greatest communicator. However, he very much so feels that there's something about you that he needs, or that he needs to communicate with you that he wouldn't with others. So I'm feeling you are registering with a common wavelength, and he's very much wanting to take the opportunity to know you, understand you, talk with you. But I say, instead of worrying about whether this is a romance, which is often what happens wrong in internet dating, instead of people going into internet dating as potential friends, they head off with complete paranoia that, oh my gosh, is this going to be the one? Think of this of many things that are a little bit different than you. But on the other hand, I think he could be a joy to spend time with this summer, and you can always use another summer friend. So it's potential, but I think he wants to get to know you, not necessarily wine and dine you.
Well, if there is a romantic interest, that will either happen or not.
Right.
The main thing is to showing
Whoops.
up is a fun thing. Gee, the Page of Cups is this young man offering a cup of joy, friendship, and I'd say, yeah, that's not a bad thing. I'd say it's cool, and whatever comes of it, that's something that has to develop.
Right.
That's something that you won't know until you've spent some time with this person. You know, a lot of times we don't realize. The attraction or the chemistry until we spend time with somebody. And if it's not there, you know what? You made another friend, and that's a good thing.
Right. Exactly. We
You
have
know.
Joy. Joy is from Connecticut, and she says, I recently took a position as a caregiver, but one of the people hired to help is very pushy. Do you finding something new? Thank you both. And this is Joy.
I didn't hear the last part of that because the sound cut out just for a moment.
Okay. It says, okay, so she has a position as a caregiver,
I got
and
that.
and one of the people's pushy, and she wants to see if it's worth working out for her, or is she going to find something new? Thank you
Okay.
both.
Well, let's see. Did you want to go first this time, Anne Marie?
Sure. I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, so Joy, if I look at this person and you in the work front, the first thing that comes up is this person seems to have a very impulsive nature. Obviously, if they're pushy, I think that they are a little ADD. They're 10 steps ahead of themselves to the point where they do pushy things that they don't mean to be rude about. It shows also that it's very important not to feed into this person's pushiness. They can't seem to help themselves. It shows that actually there is still a chance that you could both be friends. But understand that there are insecurities in this person that they are over compromising for by trying to be impulsive and maybe go much faster or quicker than they should. But again, what comes through is that this could actually be some future. She may be a pain in the ass, and you may want to, slap this person on time to time. But I believe that this person, with a little understanding, could become somebody that you will get closer to. And as far as, is it a good thing? Should you leave the job that you're at? And what comes through shows, and I have. I don't see you leaving this job because of this person. My feeling is if you leave, it's because it doesn't offer you what you want. But I don't see it because of this person, and I don't see it happening for at least maybe until September.
Yeah, I'm seeing that, though, at the current time, there might not be a whole lot that you can do to change this particular current work environment, but that shouldn't keep you from looking for something else. Okay, in the meantime, because these things do take time. It's a process very often. So I'm seeing like around September also myself. And I don't see you leaving because of this person. Actually, what I do see is that you will understand them better, and vice versa over time. A lot of times that pushy person or the control freak that we're working with really has the best of intentions, and they don't know you personally. But people change over time once you spend the time with them. I would say don't push it, just let it happen naturally. Over time, you will understand this person and it will be better. I do see you leaving for other reasons to find a more fulfilling change, represented by the Eight of Swords inverted. it also tells me that you should be open. You know,
Hmm.
um, you have to be open to defeat in order to possibly win, as they say. You have to be open.
Mm. That's a good.
Um, you can't be afraid of losing. Because then, if you're not going to try, then you certainly are never going to win.
And I can
Okay,
tell you,
so
I love
yeah,
that phrase, and you know why I like it? Because there's nothing worse for stage presence or work job performance if you're fearful and you start
hmm
stiffening up and you start saying all the wrong things, which I think this person is doing.
hmm
I believe that they're deeply insecure, and fear of failure has
yeah,
made them put their foot in their mouth. And so,
yeah.
maybe exactly what Joseph said, fear of failure has made them an idiot, and you need to just slow down for them. Slow.
And
I think that works.
yeah, and I think that that person who's being pushy, actually, this person is probably more guilty of trying too hard.
Exactly.
So try to
Exactly.
understand that. The workplace has a lot of competition these days. Everyone's afraid they're going to be next when it comes to the chopping block.
Yep.
So try to understand that.
Okay, we have Grace from Boston, and she says, "Hi, Anne Marie and Joseph.
Hi, Grace.
I'm needing to move at the end of May. I should be looking, but I'm feeling frozen and not about to look for a new place to live. I also have a 26-year-old niece that I'm taking care of. Help!"
Grace. so
Grace.
I do like the names I'm hearing lately. Joy was a
Yeah,
great.
Joy and Grace, and yes.
Well,
Oh, I like that. What was that? I love that little laugh. What was that? Say
well,
it. Just say it.
what's really funny is that I see that whenever the devil pops up in there, it's um yeah, um I'd say she needs to be on the lookout for somebody who's trying to control her. Okay. Um, it doesn't, is to really watch the compulsions and some of the habits that you might have, because sometimes the devil represents bad habits, you
Mm.
know. And I do see that there are some bad habits that perhaps need addressing in your future. But actually, um, if you watch your compulsions, everything else should fall into place regarding, you know, whether or not you should move. It's just that I'm seeing this need for escapism, and you really can't just escape. You can't escape by moving, and you have to have a clear head.
The
I'm
devil
getting at
mean
there. Yeah.
could
I
the
mean, the
devil
devil
mean
doesn't really represent the devil per
no,
se,
no.
but
Could it be
it's those little. Pardon?
could it be her obsession of overwhelmment for her situation?
Yes. Yeah.
She's overwhelming herself to the point of freezing, like you do when you're in a test and you go into brain freeze. When you know that you have dates that are coming up and you know that you have to
Well,
do something.
I'm seeing like bondage. It's not really as frightening. It's not a frightening card. It's one of those things where she's being called upon to look beyond the superficial. You know. Um, she's also being asked like to remember that, she's feeling restrained, but yet she holds the keys to her own freedom. You know,
Right.
so I mean, I say don't give up hope, because really she's going to do the right thing, but she also needs to get past some of these compulsions, and to remember that no matter what her situation, that she will always have options to choose from. But don't let other people tell her that her options are limited, and
I'm going to add, we've got one caller and one person I'm going to add real quick. Sweetheart, are you a little OCD? Because your reading shows compulsions. Yes. Are you afraid of change? Do you find that it takes you forever and ever to get into your environment, whereby developing OCD habits that make life easy, and then bam, when all of a sudden you're coming up with change, it's like, oh my gosh, kind of like the monk syndrome, where all of a sudden it's like does not compute. It's like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden you have to go through that whole process of trying to get used to a new place. And I'd say just try to understand that there's nothing to be afraid of change. I think that the universe is giving you an opportunity for helping you to get into something even better. Try to look at it that way. And if you've been feeling a little OCD and fearful of change, and it's hard for you to get ingrained into new places and new responsibilities. And I honor very much your responsibility for your niece. And what you're doing is wonderful. But I think right now you're frozen because you're overwhelmed. And just try to numb out.
Take control one step at a time. Because I'm seeing that there's this feeling of you have no control over things. And you know what? We can't control everything. But, there are steps you can take. And apparently now you have this responsibility. So really you have to take charge and you have to make a decision. But take small steps and do some planning and you'll be all right.
All right. We have we have Anita from Arizona, and we have 4 minutes, so we'll have to do flash readings.
Oh, okay.
Anita, hello. How are you?
Hi. Flash reading. I have supposed to get hip surgery. Talked to an attorney about workman's comp. He said if this is all related, he said have a doctor put this all together, how it's all related, and what looks like the best for me to do. Forget the workman's comp and just get the surgery done, or go to the workman's comp and then get the surgery done.
Oh gosh, that's a very complicated question.
That's not very complicated at all.
That's 2 things in 3 minutes. Okay, the first choice is what?
I did a single card,
okay.
But let's hear what you have to say first.
Well, no, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'm seeing a female here, regarding the situation, and I'm seeing feminine and womanly energies about here, and I'm seeing a person in your life who is somebody who has good energy and is very helpful to you. I'd say that this person is very important regarding your decisions. Now, I can't tell you anything about what you should do with your health, but I will say your health is number one, because without it you don't have much. So I would say do what you can to be healthy.
And I have with that the card of judgment, which means you will make the important choice that comes through because it will be your only choice available. And it says the Ace of Wands indicates to me that Spirit's taking care of you. You're going to make the right choice with a wonderful outcome. So follow your intuition. And you may just not really have the choice you think. One will be more easy to do than the other because it will be the only option. So my feeling is give this a little time. The decision is already being made for you. So, Joseph, thank you. And thank you very much, Anita. All right. Bye-bye.
Hi, Joseph.
Well, that was a lot.
I know.
Okay, who's next?
That's it. We have 1
That's
minute
it?
and 37 seconds. So, Joseph, where can people contact you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, which can lead them to Keen, but they can find me on Keen under known as Lantern Bearer, and I go by Joseph, and but if they type in the Lantern Bearer on Keen, that my listing there will show up. I
And
also
you
do
do
Card of the Day on Facebook. It's a public page that anybody on Facebook can go see. The Card of the Day has useful links that can lead you to that also. And it's the same. You type in a Lantern Bearer, and you'll see a page that says Paranormal and Tarot Insights, Lantern Bearer,
Okay.
Joseph. So
all right.
that's where I could be found. Yeah.
Okay, and you do chat, phone,
Yes.
and personal reading. Okay. All right, Joseph.
Yes.
We'll see you next time, and thank you
Okay,
so
thanks,
much.
Anne-Marie. It's been fun. Thanks.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio. This is AchieveRadio.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AchieveRadio.